Hey, it's that time again. This is the video that happens usually a few months earlier, but it's finally here, the Severin Summer Sale. Alright, I got the Everything is Everything bundle, so let's dig in and see what we have. So, oh gosh. Alright, I swear, I cut this. It was working. There we go. We got packin' peanuts. Friends, packin' peanuts aplenty. You've never seen so many packin' peanuts, folks. Ooh, yeah, I forgot about this. Alright. So the first thing we have is a t-shirt. Which, I apologize. I just don't want packin' peanuts all over the floor. I know, wonderful content. Oh, actually, first thing I pulled out, Caroline Munro pen. Second thing, Frank Henenlotter from Bad Biology. I really like Severin's pens. Here, this is it. This should be an extra large, it is. Alright, there's one item I cannot show, but I will tell you about and tell you why. And there's also an item that's not going to be in here. This is the Severin Video 2000 t-shirt, which is based on the company that released, I believe it was Nightmare in a Damaged Brain. I believe it was just called Nightmare in the UK. But they released Nightmare, and because they released it uncut, the guy actually got prosecuted for it and served jail time. So first, I guess here is the Joe Spinell pin. So yeah, so the shirt, it has to do with, I can't remember the name of the company, but it was like something 2000, maybe Video World 2000. And they actually got caught selling an unedited version of Nightmare, also known as Nightmare in a Damaged Brain, in the UK, and the gentleman got arrested. Which I was hoping that'd be the first one I'd dig out, but it wasn't. This is Private Crimes. And this is Edwidge Finnick and directed by Sergio Martino. If you listen to the Severin Films podcast, if this is the TV series, yes, so this is an Italian TV series. They say this is kind of inspired by Twin Peaks, which has me very, very interested. So the special features on this have an audio commentary for part 1 with Kat Ellinger, and an interview with Edwidge Finnick, who they mentioned on the on the Severin Films podcast, which I highly recommend everybody subscribe to. They mention that Edwidge Finnick doesn't usually talk about films because she's talked about all of them, but she was more than happy to talk about Private Crimes. So I'm very excited to watch this. Now we have, oh goodness, oh gracious. Okay, that's very ugly. First, it looks sun-faded or something. It's supposed to say Severin, but it's very yellow. I do not like that color. See, I was talking about Nightmares in a Damaged Brain, right? Or Nightmare. This is the novel. Now, this is something I'm noticing Severin and Vinegar Syndrome do a lot of times, is they actually put novelizations or other things in their bundle, but very excited to read this. I want to see the movie because I haven't seen it in years, but yeah, this is a novelization of Nightmare. Okay, the next thing I grabbed, which I'm not showing, but it is a $10 gift certificate. And the reason I have a $10 gift certificate is because there is an item. It was supposed to be a plush of Joe Spinell, but unfortunately, that's still in production, and it would not have been done in time to ship with the box, so they just gave everybody $10 off. who got the Everything is Everything bundle, or a bundle that was supposed to have the Spinel plush in it. The other thing is that these were I think these were ordered in June, and we are in September, and this just now got to me, so it's been a while. So, but yeah, that was, they have a $10 gift certificate if you got something that included the Joe Spinell plush. Next up is why we have a Henenlotter button. This is a 4K restoration of Bad Biology. Frank Henenlotter, you may know from his film Frankenhooker. He is also, yeah, I can't think of the name of it. And it shut down. Mike Vraney ran it. You can, at least, was it Vraney? No, maybe. Anyway, Henenlotter worked with this film. That sexploitation is part of it, and I cannot remember the damn company. But anyway, the company he ran did like long-lost exploitation films. They did a whole bunch of stuff featuring Sharon Kelly. And Frank Henenlotter, known for, now why can't I, Brain Damage, that's the, good grief. He's known for Frankenhooker, Brain Damage, the one with the basket case, and Bad Biology. Bad Biology is about a gentleman who has a monster on his monster, shall we say, and a woman who can have sex and gestate within about an hour after having sex. So, it's a very weird, very gory horror film. Frank Henenlotter, I have seen this. I had the original Blu-ray. This is a 4K. Special features on here. There's a commentary with Frank Henenlotter, the DP, Nick Daig, and actor Anthony Sneed. And then there's an archival commentary with Frank Henenlotter and producer R.A. the Rugged Man. Now, R.A. the Rugged Man actually is one of the main financiers of this film, so you can find him all over. On disc 2, the Blu-ray has Spook House, and it's interviews with Henenlotter, R.A. the Rugged Man, the production coordinator, the DP, retired detective Dave Henenlotter, weird, and production manager Chaz Kangas. There's also In the Basement with Charlie Danielson, a brief, completely off-kilter interview with the elusive Miss Danielson, and a basketball, sure. Deeg and Sneed, a conversation between Nick Deeg and Anthony Sneed. Swollen Agenda, interview with makeup effects artist Gabe Bartalos. That's it. Gabe Bartalos was in here. I will not show you the contents of this book because they are kind of explicit and gory. YouTube would ding me for that, and I don't want to get dinged. Behind the scenes of Bad Biology. Blank Face, photography by Clay Patrick McBride. What? Photographer Clay Patrick McBride runs around the director's apartment filming guys making their O-face, sure. Suck, a wonderfully twisted short film by Anthony Sneed, sure. Legendary Loser, a music video by R.A. the Rugged Man, sure. An image gallery and behind-the-scenes shots, video covers, and death pics. So there you go. This is a book, the 4K. I am going to open it. I will not show the pictures. But why I'm opening it is so this way, if you guys end up with Bad Biology, and gals, if you all, I should say, end up with Bad Biology, I can tell you where the disc is. Because sometimes it's the first page of these, sometimes it's the last page. So, here we go. Okay, so I believe the last page... Okay, so the first one... I hate how they did this. This is the 4K, I would guess. This is the Blu-ray. Gonna pull it up to make sure. The downside is this packaging. They can rip easily, or you can damage the disc. Yep, okay, I was right. So the 4K is right here. The Blu-ray is clear in the back. So yeah, and the rest is just a book of pictures If you want to know more about this book, the Book of Pictures, get the Severin Films podcast on it. There's a Severin Films podcast that is just dedicated to this bundle. Usually every announcement within a day or two, there's a Severin Films podcast. I am not sponsored by them. It's just something I listen to, and it does help me buy stuff, if that makes sense. Like, it helps me decide whether I'm going to purchase this film or not. That's why I got this Everything is Everything bundle, because I know I wanted Bad Biology, I know I wanted Nightmare, and I knew I wanted the last horror film. So, this was the easier way to go, otherwise it would have been expensive. More expensive, I should say. Alright, this is the one we've been talking about. Romano Scovellini's Nightmare. So this one, I had the Code Red DVD of it, and I do not remember much from it, to be honest with you. I wish I did, but this is the cover of it. This has been called graphic and unapologetic and brutally effective, according to the back. Now, if you watch the very famous Video Nasties, I believe it's called, they mentioned how Nightmares was banned, but it's kind of boring. Again, it's been a while since I've seen it. But here, disc 1 is the 4K, so this is a 4K set. It says so up here. Disc 1, you have an audio commentary with star Byard, Stafford, special effects assistant Cleve Hall, moderated by Lee Christian and David Dakota. Seems weird Dakota's on there, but an audio commentary with producer William Paul. Paul Williams would have been amazing. That was just me screwing up. William Paul, and then trailers. I'm going to assume the trailers are for Nightmare, but I'm not 100% sure. Disc 2 is Kill Thy Father and Thy Mother, an interview with director Romano Scavellini. And all the interviews on the Italian discs do have English subtitles. At least I think. I've ran into a couple of Arrow releases, and I've ran into a couple of Vinegar Syndrome releases, and I think a Severin release where the subtitles just stopped randomly. But usually Severin's really good about that, and they don't do that, but that can happen. Next up is Dreaming Up a Nightmare with cast and crew interviews. The Nightmare of Nightmare. This is the big reason why everybody wanted this. The Nightmare of Nightmare. An interview with erroneously credited special effects director Tom Savini. So Tom Savini legendarily has never spoke about this film, or when he does, he says he was incorrectly credited. On here, this special feature, he explains the whole story of it. The stuff nightmares are made of, with makeup artist an interview with makeup artist Robin Stevens. A Nightmare on Many Streets, a locations tour with Michael Gingold of Rue Morgue, who Michael Gingold has shown up on quite a few releases, not just Severin. Michael Gingold is, well, I'm pretty sure he was the guy on the Children of the Corn release going through what they filmed for Gatlin? And then there's a open matte peep show sequence, fun, deleted scenes, and a still gallery. Now, there is a third Blu-ray. The Severin Films 2000 shirt that I showed you. This third Blu-ray damaged the very British obscenity of David Hamilton Grant. David Hamilton Grant, he is the guy who was sent to prison for distributing this film during the Video Nasty craze in the UK. So, Disc 3 has that documentary, and then also rare David Hamilton Grant productions, The Office Party, Under the Bed, You're Driving Me Crazy, Escape to Entebbe, sure, and then Violent Nature, The Selling of a Nightmare, Violent Nature, The Selling of a Nightmare, a booklet by Nathaniel Thompson of Mondo Digital. There. I am very excited for this. This one is the one of two I've been very much clamoring for. Be warned, if you do get this, the David Hamilton Grant stuff are kind of like softcore sex movies. At least a couple of them. I think Office Party and Under the Bed are. So just be warned of that. But yeah, that is Nightmare. I'm, again, very excited for it. Next up, this one I saw a trailer for and I was excited. It's Journey to the Center of the Earth. Now this is a British adaptation. This stars Frank Branagh from Slugs, Jack Taylor from Jess Franco's Count Dracula. Special features. Movies were his life, an interview with Isabelle Picot, Juan Picot, Simon's daughter. Or maybe it's Picard. Reckless and Fearless, interview with star Yvonne Santos, I cannot read today. And A Tale of Fabulous Fantasy, an interview with co-writer Carlos Puerto, and a trailer. They have said this is one of the most accurate to the book adaptations. So I'm very excited. Oh, and Juan Picard Simon, the writer and director of Pieces and Extraterrestrial Visitors. And this, as you can see on the back, I'll move my thumb, Severin Kids. So this is a kids film. The whole family could watch this. Not like Nightmare and definitely not Bad Biology. So, and here we go. Well, because this is first. I'll unbox this after I do this next one. So next, we have Lucio Fulci's The Psychic. This was previously put out by either Code Red or Scorpion. I don't remember which one it was. So this has a book with it, and I do believe it's a 4K. Let me double check. Okay, yep. So this is a 4K. And again, this was put out once before. This is now restored in 4K and the US premiere of Fulci Talks. So The Psychic was put out before. I have seen it. It's been quite a while. The only thing on the 4K is a trailer. But Disc 2 has Doom and Gloom, an interview with co-writer Dardano Sacchetti, with contributions from director Lucio Fulci, selected scene commentary from cinematographer Sergio Salvetti, and Frico Roma's Federico Cadeo, Close-up on the eyes, an audio interview with Franco Bruni. Elegant Ladies, an audio interview with costume designer Massimo Lentini. And an audio interview with editor Bruno Micheli. Disc 3 is Fulci Talks, a 2021 documentary by Antoinetta De Lilla featuring an extended interview with Lucio Fulci. Sophisticated interview with actress Ida Galli. Maker of his own fortune, an interview with actor Gianni Garco. I know Gianni Garco for some reason. Gianni Garco, I'm pretty sure he was a spaghetti western star. In love with the movie set, an interview with the cinematographer Sergio Salvetti. 7 Notes for a Trio, interview with soundtrack co-composer Fabio Frizzi. Lucky Number 7, an interview with soundtrack co-composer Franco Bixio. Notes on the Wall, interview with soundtrack co-composer Vince Tempera. And Frizzi to Fulci, live studio session performance of The Psychic Suite. And there is a soundtrack CD on here. And a 32-page booklet featuring an all-new essay from Stephen Thrower, author of Beyond Terror, the films of Lucio Fulci. Stephen Thrower, one of my favorite facts, he pops up in a lot of Jess Franco stuff. He was also a member of Coil, and if you know the name Coil, they are the band that originally was going to do the Hellraiser music. And instead, I think it was New World said no. So, interesting tidbit about Stephen Thrower and Coil and Hellraiser. And Stephen Thrower, I'm pretty sure, appears on the other 2 discs, on 2 of the 3 final discs I have. But I said I would unbox this after I showed you The Psychic. This, I will not play it. Okay, maybe I will if it works. I need to test it out, you know. This is a music box from the Psychic. And there's the back and the front. That's really cool. This is one of my favorite things that they've put out. So, yeah, really cool. Next up, and if you're wondering why I'm not talking about Psychic as much as I was Nightmare or Bad Biology, it's because I haven't seen the Psychic in a long time. All right. Next up, we have The Sexual Story of O. I cannot show you the back of this box. I can't show you the front. I can only do this. I can't show you either side. So, Jess Franco, I'm a huge fan of. I have a huge collection of his movies. The reason I kind of fell in love with him is because he is a very strange filmmaker. In that he dabbles in a little bit of every genre, and every one of them is weird and perverse, and it's just kind of interesting to me. So, we mentioned Stephen Thrower on The Psychic. Sexual Story of Franco, an interview with Stephen Thrower. Stephen Thrower he was the author of Flowers of Perversion, The Delirious Cinema of Jess Franco. Now, the reason why I got this is this also has In the Land of Franco Part 8. And In the Land of Franco is a running series that they've been putting on their Franco discs, where David Gregory of Severin and Stephen Thrower and a guest or two go around to where these films were shot. And they talk about what it was like being in these films, what these things are now. It's kind of a location piece, but a location piece in like Italy, or I think one was even in Mexico. But yeah, I am very excited, and again have to be very careful about how I show that. So the next one. Again, I won't talk very much about this one because I don't know a whole lot about it. And there is boob. Not here, though. What is it? Jess Franco's The Inconfessible Orgies of Emmanuel. Now, they just did a big Black Emmanuel box set, and I'm pretty sure this was a take on the Emmanuel films, which I believe started out as French. Black Emmanuel was Italian. So, Jess Franco is getting in on it. This has Emmanuel Exposed, an interview with Stephen Thrower, author of Flowers of Perversion, The Delirious Cinema of Jess Franco, In the Land of Franco 9, and Inconfessible Jess, an interview with Jess Franco. So, again, I'm excited for the Franco films. I know they're not everybody's cup of tea. Me, personally, I love all the Franco stuff. Even his bad movies I find kind of neat. Like, he has an Erotic Rites of Frankenstein and another weird, like, Dracula movie. And they're bad movies, don't get me wrong. But they're fascinatingly bad, if that makes any sense. So, next up, we have the one that I absolutely am very excited for. I'm going to open it because there's a booklet too, and it should tell me. But the other thing is this is limited. So if they still have this, which I don't think they do, then you will not get this. This is Maniac 2: Love to Kill. And you may be going, I've never heard of that. There's a sequel to Maniac? That's strange. That's because it's the last horror film. That's right, the Troma Classic. And yes, I said Troma Classic. This was on the Troma Classic line. Like, they put this out in a 2-disc DVD set. They've put this out on Blu-ray. I'm pretty sure, still have the rights to this, because I'm pretty sure this was very limited and a limited run, not hand-holding, but that's all I can think of, between Troma and Partnership. Partnership between Troma and Severin. So, here we have the last horror film. Special features on it. The first disc has an audio commentary with actress Carolyn Monroe and Fright Fest Alan Jones. The second commentary is with Joe Spinell's assistant Luke Walter. I'm trying to see why. Some of these have asterisks on them, and I think it means they were on older sources. There's also Like a Father Figure. Sal Sercia remembers Joe Spinell. My last horror film ever, an illustrated archival audio interview with producer Judd Hamilton. Plus, the Blu-ray has an all-new producer's cut. And the last horror film's New York and Cannes locations visited by Rue Morgue's Michael Gingold and Severin Films' David Gregory. So, it did not mention the book, which is interesting. What is this? Okay, so the last horror film is this is a book on the making of it and promotional materials and promotional materials and all that. It's very similar to any of the other stuff that had books with them. So yeah, this one I'm very excited for. I am a huge last horror film fan. I actually prefer this over Maniac. I know I may be weird, but I think this is the better film. And yeah, it's, like I said, it's a better film to me than Maniac. I really like the ending, and I like the fact that they shot around Cannes without having permits, because you could do that back then. Or maybe not, but just kind of neat to see, and Joe Spinell was a really good actor, especially in something like this when he had motivation. I did see, I think it's I don't know if it was the hearse or the funeral parlor or the Undertaker or something. I think it was the Undertaker. But it wasn't very good, and he was very, the Undertaker would think was his last film, and he was just very not there and not motivated. Here he's motivated, and I can see why they went, with Joe Spinell and put this out. Now, I am going to do something that, if you want to see me go more in depth, check out my Patreon. So, this is the 4K. This is the Troma Blu-ray. And already the back, this looks better. But, just a brief thing on the back is that this has an intro by Lloyd Kaufman. This does not, as far as I know. This has an audio commentary, doesn't say with who. I'm going to assume it's one of them that's on here. This also has Mr. Robbie, which was a short film by Buddy Giovanzi, which was supposed to be a sequel to Maniac, starring Joe Spinell. Troma Dance, yeah, Troma. So yeah, it's, realistically, the only difference is this has Mr. Robbie and an intro by Lloyd Kaufman. So yeah. That is my Severin haul. And if you want to know more, actually before I do that, if you want to know more and want to see me compare these two, subscribe to my Patreon, because that's going to be coming soon to patrons of $5 or more. But, as I say, as I put this way, thank you for watching. This is stuff I'm very excited for. Can't wait to dive in. Some of these will get reviews, some of these won't. We'll go from there, but looking very forward to testing all these out and watching them, and it's almost that time again, because here we are, as I'm filming this, we are in September. I have 13 minutes left, interesting. Here we are in September, and this just arrived. The next one is November, and that's their Black Friday sale, and Vinegar Syndrome has a Black Friday sale, and I cannot wait. So thank you. I know this is a longer video, but I appreciate everybody. And remember to stay spooky, stay scary, take care, and we will see you next time.